I made a video, yo. I just made a video a few weeks ago talking about these passport bros. I said, when you go into these countries and not knowing the inner city, not knowing how people maneuver, not understanding the culture, but you think because you have a passport and a little cash in your bank account, you're gonna go and secure a woman. Honey, you have no idea. And I put out that video for safety purposes. Now look at this.
And guys, they took everything. They took and guys, they took everything. They took
The worst is to come, baby. Trust me.
Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is called Passport Bros, You Are All Too Easy for the Wolves in South America, says African Hater. And I stumbled across this video as I was looking for Passport Bro material. And I kind of wanted to debunk some of the things that the woman in the clip that you were shown spoke on, and then also I kind of wanted to give like some resources and that kind of thing to kind of help solve some of the issues and problems that a lot of the passport bros may be experiencing in regards to safety and that kind of thing. And generally, I don't like to talk a lot about some of the negative portions of traveling, because I like to keep my channel a bit positive. But however, safety is something that needs to be discussed, and it is necessary. And so I will speak on it a little bit and kind of keep it, I'm not gonna say light, but we're gonna move forward with that. So that being said, one of the major things, just to sum up what she was talking about, she pretty much was just saying that for the most part, that she thinks that a lot of us are very naive and gullible, and when we go to these countries, we don't do enough research in regards to how to stay safe, how to keep from being taken advantage of. So in many cases, she just thinks it's kind of a bad idea for us to travel because we don't really know the landscape. And if we do decide to travel, we need to spend an extensive amount of time in that country in order to find somebody. Otherwise, we're going to be taken advantage of, and that kind of thing. And here's the thing. I think what she's saying is an exaggeration, while being safe is something that, I mean, all people need. Your safety, your well-being is something that you should be concerned about. But the thing is, in this video, what I want to do is I want to show you that you should not be that concerned to the degree that she's saying, where you almost avoid taking a trip. I can assure you that if you avoid traveling to, like, Brazil, the DR, the Colombia, you will be missing out on a huge, some really, really good gems. I do know that most people want to travel to, like, Southeast Asia, which I agree it is safer. But I promise you that if you avoid South America out of fear of the dangers and all that kind of stuff and all this fear mongering, you're going to miss out on a whole lot of really, really good experiences. Now, to some degree, I mean, it kind of works in favor of myself and other passport bros that have traveled to South America, because that means, well, one, there's less tourists there, which means we'll get better rates, which means there's less, some cities such as like Sosua or even Medellin will have less Americans there, which kind of works in our favor. But I really feel that as a passport bro that struggled with dating in the United States, I feel that I would be less than a brother if I didn't kind of reassure you of the treasure that you'll find going down to Colombia, or even Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, or even to Sosua in the DR. Um, so a few things in particular, like in many cases, the video she has shown was she revealed I guess there was a guy that went out to the DR. He got robbed, taken advantage of. They took a lot of his stuff. I don't know if he was drugged or whatever. I didn't really go too deep into his story. But let me say this: in many cases, when guys are going down and they're getting drugged or robbed, or like having their things stolen, there's a few things you need to keep in mind. And here's a few little quick things you can do to avoid that. Whenever you get a hotel, make sure that hotel has a hotel safe. Make sure it has a hotel safe. There are some hotels that don't have safes. Um, in the past, I have had staff, I believe, stolen some things out of my room, like little small things. So that being said, make sure that if you have valuables, you have a laptop, you have your cell phone, that kind of thing. Make sure that your hotel has a safe. A lot of times, safe is big enough where you can actually put your laptop in there, and then when you walk off, everything in there is safe and that kind of thing. So make sure it has a hotel safe. Next thing is, a lot of times people talk about like the apps and that kind of thing. Majority of the time, the gangs or whatever that use the girls, they generally are using like the Tinder app. But there are a lot of guys that use Tinder have had no issues. But keep in mind that whenever you meet somebody in general, this person still is a stranger. And in general, I have not really used Tinder a lot. I've used Latin American Cupid. And there's another app called Badoo. These are less known apps, and it kind of, there's a little safety in that a lot of the women who are trying to who are up to no good, they're not really using those apps in general. So there's a little, not to say that it cannot happen, but they're less likely to use those. And in general, a lot of times when I do use these apps, I've kind of spoken with these women for many weeks before I even have arrived in the country, so I have a good rapport with them. Not to say that they can't be doing that as well to get you to come there to take advantage of you, which is why I always say that it's not a good idea to actually bring them back necessarily to your hotel room. Generally, what I would do is I generally get like a separate hotel in a separate building, and generally handle my business there, or chill out with the woman there. So that case, in that way, if something does happen, none of my valuables are really in that hotel. They're my main hotel. But for that night, I'll have a separate hotel where I will meet the girls. So that way, if something does happen, they really don't get that much to begin with. But in general, I have not had any issues with the girls. I generally do really, really good at vetting. Not to say it can never happen. I'm not saying that. Thank God nothing has ever happened. But just be safe in general. And I didn't want to make this a fear mongering video. So let me just kind of ease your mind just a little bit and kind of speak to you a little bit about all this. I brought all that up to kind of set things up so that I can kind of address each one of these points that a lot of the fear mongers are trying to put out there for a lot of the passport bros. So that being said, I just wanted to show you that, everyone keeps claiming that druggings only happen for some reason in Latin America or in Thailand or in Brazil. Here, right here on CBS News, there was a woman accused of drugging her date in Miami. This is in Miami. She stole over $600,000 in Rolexes and other jewelry. And pretty much the way she did it is she drugged the guy. He fell asleep in the room. She took all his valuables, and then she left and she took off. And now they're looking for this woman. I say that to say that this is not the first time I've heard of this. I even heard in Las Vegas when I was watching. It was some reality TV show I was watching about Las Vegas, in which there actually was a woman who would meet guys at the casino. She would try to tell them that she wants to have drinks with them, go back to their room. She would slip a little, roofie or something to that extent in their drink. They pass out. She steal all their valuables, and then she'd head off. And the thing is, a lot of times what she would do is she would try to solicit the guys, so that way they can't really go to the cops. So that way they'd be fearful to go to the cops, and that way she can kind of get off scot free, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to show you a major example of how even in the United States, people keep acting like you just got to be careful overseas. Just be careful in South America. That's not the case. You need to be careful everywhere, even with women in the United States, even where even in countries where women have money. I mean, people, you'll be surprised at the extent people are willing to go to extract money from you. Very, very detailed schemes, very, very believable schemes. There's a show called American Greed. I challenge you to watch that show. You'd be surprised how many schemes out there. And a lot of times the people that are doing these schemes, these are people who look normal. They look just like me and you. They don't look vicious. They don't look like they're associated with any type of gangs. Just keep your head on a swivel, keep your guard up, especially when you're dealing with strangers, whether you're in South America or whether you're in the United States. I'll show you another thing. So recently, there were in Los Angeles, and this was happening over the past year. Um, there was a lot of because the economy was down at a point, people were losing jobs because of COVID and that kind of thing. Since that COVID situation in Los Angeles, there were several different people who were driving around in fancy cars and that kind of thing, and a lot of times they were getting followed home by criminals, and the criminal will follow them home. As soon as they get home, they'd rob them for their car, they'd carjack them, take their stuff. And this was happening a lot throughout Los Angeles, and also heard about in parts of New York as well that this was taking place. I said that to say because there were cases people brought up in which, for example, in Cali, Colombia, a lot of times they would say that some guys would come from the airport. There'll be criminals following them from the airport all the way to their hotel, and they robbed them. But I want to show you that even here in the United States, we have example of this going on. Now, I don't want to make light and just make it seem like obviously in certain countries, the people there are not as well to do in the United States. So you will see more examples of it. But I just wanted to bring your attention to keep in mind that you're coming from a country where it's not all, rainbows and ponies either. There's a lot of crime here in the United States. There's a lot of people who may think this way are probably people who live out in the suburbs. You live in a well-sheltered area, but just ask some of the people who live in the middle-class areas of the United States, or even the lower middle class, or even the hood areas. Ask them how life is there, and they'll tell you about all types of different schemes going on, all types of crimes. You mostly got to keep your head on a swivel. Me, myself, I live in a pretty decent neighborhood where I don't really deal with this kind of stuff day to day. I pretty much, for the most part, can go out 3 o'clock in the morning, walking around, running, nothing really happened. It's pretty safe neighborhood. But however, but me, myself, growing up from, when I grew up, I didn't, I would say I was middle class. I wasn't necessarily poor, but I do remember at one point living in, I grew up in Chicago, living on the south side of Chicago. I remember hearing, gunshots. I remember, my dad coming and telling me that someone had broke into the car, stole the radio. So what I'm trying to say is I do know about that life there. Like, I didn't live that life, but I have been in areas before where I know you need to keep your head on the swivel. So I'm not blind to that part of life exists even in the United States. And I know many of you know that as well. And all I'm trying to say is don't lose that street smarts when you go to another country, such as Colombia, Brazil, Thailand. Even if you go to a supposedly rich country, let's say you go to Germany, let's say you go to the UK, where there are gangs there now with knives, and they have knife fights and that kind of thing. You got to be careful everywhere you go. There's no place on this globe where there's not crime. So I say that to say, don't be scared about going to, Colombia, because you heard stories about people getting followed and that kind of thing. Generally, what I do is, to be honest with you, stay safe. I don't really take the taxis or that kind of thing. I usually do Uber. Uber to me has been a lot safer. In many cases, when you go to some of these airports in these other countries, keep in mind that sometimes some cab drivers may be up to no good, that kind of thing. I want to say maybe 95% of them are pretty much okay, but there have been, you'll hear stories about, people faking like they're a taxi. They appear, at the airport. Guy gets in the car. They drive off, take him somewhere. Stuff like that. This could happen anywhere, even in the United States. But generally, what I do is, if I'm in the airport, if somebody approaches you and you don't know them and they want to show you to a taxi, don't take it. Don't take it. Get the taxi yourself or do Uber. Stay safe. Be smart. Ask yourself, if you were in Los Angeles, like this article says, If somebody just walked up to you randomly and said, "Hey, I got this new ride. We can give you a cheaper rate on a taxi. We want you to come with us." Would you go with that person? You wouldn't go with that person because you don't know them. Don't lose your street smarts when you go to these other countries. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, one more article I wanted to show you as well as because people talk about the dating apps. When you go on a dating app, they all trying to get you. They all going to drug you. I've used Latin American Cupid. I've used the Badoo app, which is similar to Tinder. Had met plenty of decent women, met them in person, went out on dates. There's some girls I've been seeing regularly, that kind of thing. And this is, post to, basically what I'm trying to say is I've had no issue when I've used that app. That's what I'm trying to say. And I just wanted to show you that even in the United States, when you use the apps, you still have to be careful. You still got to be careful. For example, a man was robbed at gunpoint by a dating app woman's associate at the end of the date. Basically, what happened was there was this new app that popped up, and I believe my brother had told me about it because he was trying to use this app at one point a few years ago. So pretty much what had happened was, and you can see like this was a few years ago, but the thing was, what you do on the app is you pretty much go on people's profile, you meet them, and then basically what it is in order to talk to them, you have to set up a date. So this date was set up at a casino at like 2 a.m. to meet this woman. And basically what she did is she had two guys. She had set up a scheme so that when a guy met them, when two of them met up, they were having dinner, and then supposedly she said, "Oh, my brother's going to come visit. My brother is here at the casino. He wants to meet you." So, of course, this guy who's supposedly supposed to be her brother, but is really one of her henchmen, comes up, approaches them, has dinner with them. Then she says, "Oh, we have." Then he tells them about another friend that they want to meet up with. So the guy goes with her and her supposed brother and his new friend. So anyway, they get in a car and they're going to go out to another place to have drinks. So they go out to that place. Along the way, one of the guys pulls out a gun and robs the guy. So what I'm trying to say is that you can be set up right here in America. You can be set up right here in America as well. It's not like only in South America are people meeting you on apps to set you up. Just keep in mind, as I said before, this person, whoever you meet on an app, they're still a stranger. You still got to do your vetting. I always said this before. You always control the environment. Whenever I have met women in South America, generally what I do is I have them meet me at the restaurant in my hotel. If they say let's meet here, I don't go. You have no idea who she has there waiting on you. She can have her brother. It can be her uncle or somebody that wants to take advantage of you. I never meet them where they want to meet. They always meet where I want to meet because I know the place. I know the restaurant in my hotel is not going to be a setup. I know the people there. So yeah. So in general, a good key rule I would give you is if you are going to meet girls on the app, always have them meet you at the restaurant at your hotel. So make sure the hotel you have has a safe and it has a restaurant. So if you do meet girls on the app, you have them meet you at the restaurant in your hotel. That way you can screen them. It's safe. You can go right. Don't take them right back to your room. Don't take them to your hotel room. So let's say you guys finish eating. She says, "Hey, let's go to your place." You do not take her to your hotel room. If this is the first time you're meeting, make sure ahead of time you already plan for this. Make sure you get a hotel room that is separate from your hotel. Make sure you guys just let her know, "Hey, this is a restaurant I really like. I wanted to meet here." But don't let her know necessarily that you're staying there. Just tell her you're staying at a different hotel. So then when she wants to go to your hotel room, you go off to a completely different hotel. And that's where you guys meet up, cuddle, watch TV, that kind of thing. The main purpose of that is so just in case, for whatever reason, this woman is trying to get over on you, drug you, set you up, or something like that, the hotel room you go to is not your main hotel. So that way, none of your valuables are there. You ain't got to worry about anybody stealing your stuff. You ain't got to worry about, any of that. You'll be in a completely separate hotel. So I'm going to say that. So make sure you always control the situation. Now, one last thing as well is one interesting thing I want to show you as well is let's look at some of these crime index statistics. And this is based upon all the different cities throughout the whole world. Now, in this top 20 of all the cities in the whole world, we have United States cities within the top 20 of the most crime-ridden cities in the world. Here's Detroit, here's Memphis, here's Baltimore, and these are all in the top 20. And look, and here's the thing. The guy that she showed was in a DR. Look what a DR is. It's number 39. It's not even in the top 20. You got Memphis, which is more dangerous than Santo Domingo in the DR. You got St. Louis, Missouri, which is more dangerous than the DR. I've already stated what Detroit, Memphis, Baltimore, these cities are more dangerous than the DR. So again, I'm not trying to make light of cities overseas. I'm not trying to say now you can just let your guard down. Don't do that. You don't do that anywhere. Don't even do that in the United States. Don't even do that in Detroit. Don't even do that in Memphis. Don't do that in New Orleans. Please don't do that. And look, even before the DR, Oakland, don't do that in Oakland, California. Keep your guard up at all times. So I say that to say that there's dangerous cities in every single country. You just need to keep your guard out. And one last, resource I wanted to give you is I would recommend if you're going to the DR. Here's a newspaper that covers a lot of local news, a lot of things going on in the DR. Arrests, that kind of thing. This is a Dominican today. A lot of different articles, a lot of different things telling you about what's going on in that country. I think before you go to any country, it'd be a very, very good thing to kind of check out the news surrounding it. I believe the government, I'm trying to remember the site. But anyway, there's a site before you go, like the travel site, in which the government gives out little notifications about if you should or you shouldn't travel to certain countries because of like war, because of like politics, that kind of thing. So just be aware of what's going on in the country before you visit it. And this is a good resource I think you should use if you're going to go to like the DR to kind of know what's going on before you arrive there. And that being said, one of my favorite countries to go to is Colombia. And this guy here, I'm a subscriber to DC Born Rob. He travels a lot to Medellin. And the thing about his channel, which is great, is he covers news constantly about what's going on in Colombia. So if you're a Colombia lover, you love going to Colombia, definitely sign up definitely subscribe to DC Born Rob. I love his channel. I watch a lot of his news. It just keeps me aware of what's going on in Colombia, Bogota, Medellin, that kind of thing. Now, I don't put it this way. Watching too much news stuff about Medellin and Colombia might have you a little uptight, but it is really, really, really important. You don't want to go out there blindly and not know what's going on in the country that you're about to visit. So this is where I get a lot of my news about Colombia from him. And he does a good job as well, covering, giving updates, that kind of thing. So he's a very, very, his channel is a very, very good resource if you want to know what's going on in Colombia. I want to say he posts this at least sometimes like a couple times per week, maybe once per week, that kind of thing. But he's pretty good at posting very often, so you get to know very up-to-date news. So definitely sign up and subscribe to this channel. I'll leave a link to his channel in my description. And I'm going to end it on that. Went a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you can know when I have my next video coming out. Please leave your comments and tell me what you think about what the lady was saying and that kind of thing. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.
Dear Passport Boys, dear Passport Bros, stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Are you going to the Philippines to look for a Filipina queen or what? So stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Start calling yourself Passport Kings.